Good morning, and good morning to all of you across the world. Perhaps this morning, my name is Njeri Jomo. We are streaming live from Nairobi, Kenya, on this beautiful morning. I don't know where you're tuning in from, but Nairobi is a bit cold and rainy, so I hope you're a bit warm and have a hot mug of hot chocolate or coffee or whatever you prefer. I hope you're excited. I hope you're looking forward. We are streaming live this morning on YouTube, and we are on Zoom this morning to talk about navigating career stagnation, hosted by Kenya Women in Insurance Association. I can see we have quite a number of participants this morning. It's easy for me to say good morning, ladies, but I can also see a few gentlemen. Welcome. This topic of navigating career stagnation definitely affects all of us, and we do look forward to a great conversation. Do you have your pen and paper ready? Do you? I hope you do, because this is it's bound to be a great 1 hour of learning and probably drawing from the great insights these ladies have. And we can't wait. Should anyone be here, if anyone is trying to join us, ask them to join, because we will be on the mark and finish on time. And anyone who would like to follow us on YouTube, the link is on the chat. Please feel free to join us there. As we begin, we want to begin with our panelists. Our panelists for this morning, and I have some great people to speak to us. And I want to begin by introducing my first panelist. Her name is Evelyn Munyoki. Evelyn, welcome. Evelyn is, I'll read her big bio here, HR leader and executive director, but she's currently the director, Human Resources, Britam Holdings PLC. She's a seasoned HR leader in leadership development and a professional and executive coach with over 15 years of senior leadership and management experience in various industries. She has worked in many sectors, both local and international, some great brands, including IBM, PwC, Ernst & Young, Standard Chartered Bank, Oxfam, Great Britain, and I think in her last role, she was in aviation. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Land Economics from the University of Nairobi and a Master's in International Business Administration from USIU. She's a certified Global Leadership Coaching Index practitioner and a certified executive leadership coach and professional career coach. And these are some of the great experiences and insights we'll be hoping to get from Evelyn this morning. Welcome, Evelyn. Great to have you here. We also have Mary Mukindia. Mary, if you could wave to the ladies and gentlemen in the room, they can see who Mary is. And Mary, again, a great bio here. Mary has 35 years of a career in senior leadership positions in the energy industry, and including corporate, non-corporate, NGO, United Nations. She's a leadership trainer, a certified GENOS emotional intelligence coach, an ICF professional coach, a global coaching index practitioner, and a business consultant. She has a passion for achievement of results through empowering people as a trainer and bringing forward leadership development expertise through a coaching approach. And we look forward to gaining from her insights today. And there's one thing I can't forget to mention. Mary is most complimented on her energy and her ability to engage people. We look forward to that this morning as I move on to my next panelist, who is also one of the founding members of Kenya Women in Insurance Association. Her name is Stella Njunge. Stella is the managing director of AIG Kenya. Stella, would you want to wave to our participants this morning? And Stella has, her bio is quite extensive, but the one thing I must mention, she's also been coached quite extensively by Mary. So we are seeing the outcome of perhaps what we'll be gaining. And Stella, as I mentioned, is a current managing director, AIG. She has also been CEO, Liberty Life Assurance, an extensive career, but her background is in finance. It's interesting, how do you have a finance or an accountant end up in insurance? And we'll be hoping to hear a lot about that this morning. So welcome to my great panelists this morning. And as we begin, we'd like to start by hearing from you, our audience, through a quick poll. It will take us about 1 or 2 minutes. On your screens, take a moment, about 4 questions, to tell us a little bit about this topic. We will be projecting the results of this poll. It is on your screen. Take a moment and tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience and your interaction with this topic that we are looking at today. It is on your screens. Once the poll is closed, we will be able to look at the results together. And as that poll is running, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge a number of people who are in our audience. We have the president of Kenya Women in Insurance Association, Catherine Wahome, who's here with us. Catherine, we really appreciate you and appreciate having your time here this morning. Please wave to all the participants. Our poll is running. I hope you've had a chance to give your view. Please give us your view. Great. We have 30 people already responded. Okay, great participation. Let's have a few more answers and we'll be good to go. And we have just 4 questions. How many years of experience do you have? How long have you been in your current role? How satisfied are you with your current role? And last but not least, would you say that your career has stagnated? I see a couple of no's. So I think even as we go through the conversation this morning, even the no's will be taken care of. 70% participated so far. Another minute and then perhaps we can close the poll and project the results and then move on. Great. As we continue again, if you have the link to this meeting, feel free to invite those who should be here, those who should be with us. But as said, we are on Zoom, but we are also on YouTube and streaming live this morning. All right, I think we have a good level of participation. We can go ahead and close that poll. We can look at the results of what we are seeing. When we ask how many years of experience have you had, quite a number of old guards here, 7 to 10 years, more than 10 years, a few people between 0 to 3 years. I think by then your career is still new, so perhaps you're not too worried about career stagnation. Good for you. 4 to 6 years, we have about 15% of those, but the bulk of us are more than 7 years. How long have you been in your current role? 0 to 3 years, so we've been been working for quite a bit, but perhaps 0 to 3 years, perhaps Evelyn, we can already begin to see the trend of people not working for too long. I cannot see any more than 10 years. That's interesting. How satisfied are you with your current role? Satisfied, and it's good. A good number of us are satisfied. A number of us are quite dissatisfied, and some are very satisfied. As we discuss, we always say when you're having the conversations, it's always good to have it earlier. How would you say that your career has stagnated? And about 64% say yes, about 36% say no. And as we begin, perhaps that is where we're going to begin on discussing this topic. And we'll jump right into it. At this point, I will be putting the first question to my panelists. And we're going to start, if we can start with you, Mary. what has been your experience with career stagnation? Is it something, and perhaps speaking to your long, I mean, you've been working for quite some time. How have you gone through career stagnation? We would like to hear a bit from you on that.
Thank you, Jerry. In a sense, I'm afraid I haven't gone through career stagnation because as a bit of a I don't know, workaholic, which I have reduced a bit, and I tell all my clients and the people I mentor, please do not follow my path. Literally, I used to work, I don't know, 14, 16 hours. If I remember somebody saying, if being given promotion is working like Mori, wachaikai, let it stay. So I had no private life. I got married very late. I had my children when I was near 40s and some in 40s. So I literally flew through. And also there's an element of luck. You know, there was an ethical issue that happened. Then there's a very quick promotion. And I just drove myself literally to the ground. I think these numbers are a bit puzzling because if you look from the poll, we're having 71% saying they're satisfied. 21 said very, and those who said certified were 56. If you add that, is 77. Yet when we asked the question, do you feel we've stagnated? 64% said, yes, it's stagnated. And so I'm not really sure. I get a sense maybe the expectations are higher, but let me say that the clients that I see, whether it's for leadership training through my FKE program that I participate with in the leadership module, which is a Norwegian program to bring women to good level, or even in coaching, I do sense a great deal of dissatisfaction. People feel stagnated. In fact, many people say, I feel stuck moving to the next level. And I think maybe it's a little bit mix of what is it ideally I should be doing that gives me satisfaction, that gives me impact, that gives me meaning. So that would be my reading on it. Over to you.
Interesting there. I mean, you're saying a number of people are saying, I'm satisfied. But I feel that my career has stagnated. So which is which? And I'm sure, as in, I hope for the audience, you can begin to think through that. So I'm stuck, but I'm satisfied. Interesting mix there. I want to put the same question to Evelyn. I mean, in HR, career stagnation, I mean, people will come and say, I feel that my career has stagnated. But in your personal experience, in your career journey, have you experienced career stagnation, and what's your interaction with it?
Okay, so thank you so much. Maybe I can share a little bit about earlier on in my career. And I think it came from, first of all, just how we are socialized when you come from college and you need to get a job. So that's where that sort of started for me. And I had this notion that I was going to sort of be in a specific field around investment. And I in my mind, I thought, then I need to find myself in a bank or something, or a consulting firm. But what stuck with me is that I spent my first 6 years in a financial institution. And the plan that I had in my head actually did not necessarily pan out that way. But along the way, maybe going into the second or the third year in that role, I then started to feel that I really liked to work with people. I liked to work with things around just the whole people agenda, human resources. But then now trying to find ways, how would you get into that space where you have a passion for and you love it? So it took me 6 years to actually make the move from where I was in that financial services institution. And I really have a lot of fantastic things to say about it, because even as I did my substantive role, I had an opportunity to pursue my passion, not in a substantive role in HR, but actually being part of things that had to do with people. So that continued to sort of fester in my spirit. And I think when the first opportunity came after the 6 years, I jumped on it. So I think there's a way that you can get stuck in a space where you are looking for that opportunity, like actively. But for most of us, it starts with a job. Most of us, it starts with a passion. And then you're trying to figure out how you're going to walk through that journey. Later on, I think it became a little bit more deliberate. Some of the choices that you kind of make along the way, you find that some sort of happen because of circumstances, but others because you you are possibly being deliberate about the opportunities and where it is that your journey is taking you. So that's why I like to define your career as a journey rather than sort of many short-term things that may not necessarily make up your journey of life. So, Jerry, I think that's what I would possibly be saying, and just to start to make the distinction between the job, your job, and then what really the career is, because it's important to have that distinction as well in mind. That your career might start with a job, it might start with a passion, might start with a hobby, might start with something that you really love to do. And that's a starting point. But a career is a little bit more, you're a little bit more deliberate about what that journey looks like for you. And it is also possible that you could have more than one career in your life, in your lifetime. So just to open up that space around what that looks like. But stagnation, for me, I've experienced it early in my career, but after that, I was able to sort of start to see that unlock. Jerry, maybe just one thing I noticed about the statistics as well. The people between 7 to 10 years in their role, their current role, there's something I think in HR we say they start to have an itch, and you start to think, okay, maybe now I've been on this role for too long. So you start to think, what is the next move? So for me, it kind of aligns in a sense that people are beginning to think, okay, maybe I need actually to be thinking. I might be satisfied, but I actually need to be thinking about my next journey. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that, Evelyn. I mean, it means that when we're between 7 to 10 years, we have an age. That's interesting. I think we'll put a pin on that. And I think we also must note to put a pin on career and job, because I'll come to that question in a minute. I want to go to our next panelist, Stella. Again, like Evelyn, finance, from a financial services background, accounting to insurance, and just like Evelyn, from finance to HR, have you experienced career stagnation? Have you interacted with it?
So good morning to everyone who's attending this webinar this morning. Yes, Jerry, most certainly I did. I have about 22 years experience in the insurance industry, and my training is in finance. I'm a trained accountant. Have worked in finance departments for the larger part of my career. My first role was in, I think I've been privileged to work with some of the big names. So my first 3 jobs were in the finance departments, culminating in me ending up being a finance manager in one general business, second in a life company. And then I decided to make a switch, which is that itch that I think Evelyn is speaking about. Because what happens is that I would find that my role or my job then was fairly routine, and yes, you because of executing the same thing over and over again, you find that with time you feel like you want to do more and be more. And principally, I find in the first years of your career, it's about mastering your technical ability and rising in that. But beyond that, when you feel you have adequate experience, it's good to spread your wings and now start managing people, so that now you can begin to get results through people. So when I was at Liberty Life, where by the way, I was a general manager in charge of retail, not the MD. I was offered the opportunity to switch over from finance to a role whereby I would be in charge of sales operations and general operations of retail. And I was happy to make that switch because throughout in all my previous roles in finance, I would find that yes, I like the numbers. I was good at executing what I did, but I would feel that I have the ability to do more. And making a switch definitely was the best thing that I ever did. So my lesson from my experience is that you have very much in charge of your career, and your level of your internal level of dynamism is what is going to determine how far you will go and when you will make that move. Often we can get into a sort of a comfort zone you get comfortable where you are. And I have many friends, 10, 15, even double that number of years in the same role, doing the same thing. And you're an expert at what you do and you're happy being there. But for many others who feel that they do not have joy in staying in the same role, the opportunities abound. But ultimately, the responsibility is yours to harness that experience that you have and prove to yourself and to the world out there that you can do more, and ask people to give you that opportunity to perform in a bigger role. And you'll surprise yourself. You really will, by the kind of results that you will get. So career stagnation is there. But ultimately, the responsibility is yours as an individual to make sure that you move to the next level. Over to you, Jerry.
Thank you. There's a common thread across the three speakers. I don't know whether you're hearing it along with me. You want to grow. What are you willing to do about it? I think we will need to at some point touch on the fact that some people have made some very brave career moves here. You can see big changes, big moves, raising my hand and saying, I'm interested. I've had Stella say, I thought I now need to lead a team, and jumping from a life insurance company to general insurance. Some bit there on being willing to take on a bit of risk, and I'm hoping we can interrogate that. But I want to come back to something you said, Evelyn. You're speaking to careers, jobs. Is there a distinction, or is it the same thing? And if there's a distinction, what is it? I know we're discussing career stagnation, but do I have a job? Do I have a career? What do I have? And how do I distinguish between the two?
So thank you, Jerry. And this is one of the things I'm really passionate about. If we start from the place of career, I think it's important to first of all just recognize first it will be possibly a series of jobs or a series of the ones who are entrepreneurs will find they'll possibly start up with what might seem as a hobby or an interest or a passion, and then start to see a series of things happening, whether they are startup opportunities. But then if you're thinking about a profession, then you start to see it could be a series of jobs. Sometimes they look disjointed, but actually when you look at it, you will find there's a common thread that is running through that person's life. Possibly, if you look at the why, so it's always good to start with the why. Why is it that I exist? What is it that I really exist for? So you'll find that if you start with the why, and this is really around the golden circle. If you read about Simon Sinek, you will see he talks about the golden circle. And if you start with the why, then you're able to sort of define the what and the how. But we kind of define ourselves with the what, which sometimes is just the job, which then doesn't traverse all the areas of your life, for example. And in this case, you're talking about, if you're talking about a career, you're talking about a long-term goal of your life. It's not just confined to just a job alone. It's definitely your course of life that then employs all the different things, your knowledge, your skills, your education, your competencies, your passion that is attached to now what becomes really your purpose, the why. Now, you'll also find that people pick up careers not just to make money, which is important to make money and earn bread and butter, but you'll find that the career is a little bit bigger. It's something bigger. It's what I love to do. And some people will even tell you if they are in the right space in terms of their career, they never seem to feel like they're working. It's not a chore. It's not something that is draining. It's something that continues to rejuvenate them over and over. Of course, there'll be periods of downtime, but those don't keep them down for long enough for them to be completely disengaged from their career. But a job, on the other hand, if you think about it just on its own, it will serve you in terms of continuing to perform as a person. You get rewards attached to that. But clearly, if it's not then tied to maybe what your moral compass is, what your why is, whether you love it or not, whether you love what you do every day, I think that can be a challenge, because then if you look at a job, it will be a very good source of income, livelihood. But then at the same time, if it isn't part of a longer term journey, and being open to the fact that there could be several jobs, there could be things that then have a common thread around what it is that you want to achieve as a person. So, Jerry, I think that would be my sense, that Even when I think about my own journey, everything has a common thread, trying to making an impact in people's life, even if it's one life at a time, but working with people. For me, that's maybe that's how I'd address that whole discussion, so that you start to see, am I in a job, or am I in a job that then sets the platform for me to sort of go into something that has a clear common thread with my passion, my purpose, the why I exist, and things like that, so that we can stop defining ourselves by the what. Yeah, I think that's what maybe I'll stop there so that I also don't hog everything. Yeah.
Thank you, Evelyn. We can see the passion, I must admit, but it's good to get that distinction. I get the feeling perhaps some of us could be saying I'm stuck, but we're discussing a job. So it will require for us to step back and say, okay, career, what is my career? And am I really stuck? And some good distinctions there on, is it money? Is it something I'm passionate about? So I think one of the big asks of all of us is to find out what's my career, something I'm passionate about that keeps me going. And it's not just about money, it's more than that. But I want to bring you in, Mary, on the same, perhaps, I know you're also quite passionate on this issue of careers, job and career, any additional distinctions?
I would say a job is not bad. You know what we call jobo? Because you need money. It's the only critical thing you must have. And sometimes you need to work for it. But I think what is important is, what else do you enjoy doing? There are people who live very full lives outside of their work. They love, volunteerism, or they work at their church, or they work with children. I think what's important to have a full rounded life is to say, what do I enjoy doing? What is it that I genuinely love? You could have a hobby, fine, do it. It gives you creativity, you enjoy it. You could have a vocation that you're genuinely passionate about, or you could have a career in a sense that you love to write, you love to create, or you love to support people. So in your hustle, you become a coach and you do that. I think the problem that sometimes we make, and I made it, is sometimes, though I actually typically had a career, I think the times I had job was when in the old days, when you did Form 4 and you finished, you had to work, and we used to go and work at funny places. Me, I worked in the industrial area, and I hated industrial area. To today, I'm sorry guys who are in industrial area, we used to have to take 2-3 buses, go to Gill House. There was never anywhere to eat. Then the buses were so squeezed. I used to have a nosebleed. I hated those jobs, but I had to go because my father expected me to work. And I think it costed more to get there than the salary. I worked at the Kenya School Equipment Scheme, and then after Form 6, I worked at the Cadbury factory, who I love. I mean, they're lovely people. So those were jobs. So I would say, the mistake we make as women, particularly, but sometimes men do it, but mostly women, is we go and give our whole self to a place where we work. You work 16 hours like I used to, or 14. Literally, your family is suffering, your healthcare is suffering, because you have so much attention, and you take it as if you're Mrs. Atlas, or this is your father's company. It is a contract. You're selling your time and service. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, do it ethically, but don't put everything in that place, because then you start feeling, I'm giving so much and I'm not getting enough back. How do you balance yourself so that you know, as Evelyn was saying, is it a job? Fine. Treat it like a job. Is it a professional career that I enjoy? Yes, you can give away some. Is it a vocation? Then it's okay, even if I'm not paid, I'm happy about it. But sometimes we take our jobs and try and die with them. You know how you shika kitu inaishika ni kama yako, you want to die with it. And then you get frustrated. Whose fault is it? It's you donating your service and time to a very expensive company that doesn't need your donation, and they don't have that in your memory to know how you gave so much 5 years ago. So I think make that distinction, as Evelyn is saying, and then decide, let me do things that I also enjoy and can either bring me income or not bring me income, but they give me pleasure and they bring something into your life.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know whether you have a mind blowing just listening to that. Is it true, women, we pour ourselves, all of ourselves, hold up the world in that company? This is me. If I'm not here, this place is going down.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mary. Yes, I agree. It's perhaps more a feminine trait. We want to hold up everyone and some extent, mother everyone at the office and make sure nothing is going down, not going wrong. But I hear some couple of things. I hear we have careers, we have jobs, hobbies, vocations. We are so multifaceted, so many things. There are things we're passionate about, things we like doing. There are aspects we'll give, you know, and in there are a couple of things. I think we'll need an entire session just to unpack that.
Yeah, and maybe I could just add, Jerry, maybe I could just add
yes,
this. How do you become very intentional? How do you plan? The same way you plan for your company and have a 5-year plan, strategy plan. How do you intentionally plan your career or your job? How do you say in 2 years, if I were to ask many people here, where do you want to be in 2 years' time? Or if I ask you, who has your job today? Tell me. I used to say, Modaura had my job or Kenya has my job. Then I realized I wouldn't want politics. But which job do you want? Most people cannot define what they want. And if you don't have a goal, then any road can take you there. So it's very intentional. Where do you want to be? Sometimes you can even move sideways because, you know, to get this job, I need to have leadership experience or operational experience or sales experience. And you move. It doesn't matter. So that for me is something that perhaps even Stella or, you know, Evelyn, who have been very much in the HR or in the leadership, do they see people wanting and volunteering to move to Kisumu to be the regional branch manager? Because you know that in the career path, that is required. So I don't know how far intentional people are in really planning their career as if they are planning for a strategy of their company.
I want to thank you. I think Mary, Stella, as you respond and add to what Mary is asking, whether you see it, I want you to pair that with perhaps our next question. What causes career stagnation, and do I have anything to do with it? And I've had pockets of it here and there. I mean, do I have to do anything to do with it, or is it my company is the problem? The economy is a problem. What's my role in my career stagnation?
So I want to agree a lot with Mary about that aspect of not being clear about where it is that you want to go. And oftentimes, and I see it even now in organizations that I've worked for, we're not willing to make the sacrifice to put ourselves back on track. Sometimes it may require, and this is something that I've even done, that you quit your job and you take a job at a lower pay so that you can get back on track to what it is that you want to achieve. It's with the view of a few of the Gen Zs, I've seen some that are quite visionary, and they would actually come and ask for the opportunity. Say, should an opportunity arise in that particular department, which is quite different from the one that I'm in, could I be considered? Because I've worked in this particular role for a long time, and I think I have adequate skills and experience that I would like to put in elsewhere. But it's not often. It's not often. I'd find that, and I'll say this even for myself, before I got to appreciate that, heck, it's up to me to make the decision and make the move to get to where I want to be, would sometimes tend to sit and complain. Jerry asked about career stagnation. Sit and complain and not take any action. And yet, ultimately, the responsibility is yours. My advice would be, is early on in your career, make sure that you acquire all the technical requirements that you can, that will be the ones that will catapult you into these bigger roles when the opportunities appear. They say that faith favors the prepared. I don't know if it's that, that is how, that's how the saying goes. Because if those opportunities appear, because they do, sometimes people leave impromptu, and an opening is there. And people, when the organization leadership is looking for a replacement, most likely they'll look inwards and they'll remember that so and so, by the way, has completed all these requirements, and based on the experience and exposure, they'll be able to be a good fit into this role. So that deliberate, making sure that you are trained to, making sure that you have a goal, making sure that you have a personal plan. It's difficult. I was challenged about 5 years ago to write my own mission and vision. And my mission is to make sure I can make a positive impact wherever it is that I work. And it took me a long time to coin it, but it's important. And with it came the values. What am I known for? Am I known for working hard? Am I known for making sure that I do things right? Am I known for upholding integrity? Penning those ones down, because those are the ones that will help you as you navigate your career. Businesses are different, environments are different. The people you work with and encounter will be very, very different. And you need your own milestones that will hold you true to yourself and help you move in a way that you want to move. Very important to chart your brand. Make sure that what you are known for is something that you have come up with, so that whenever people look at you, they say that person is known for, Stella is known for completing the job, doing a quality job, making sure that she helps people. It's very important that that brand goes out there, and that is what is going to determine your rise in the future. So that even when people outside there would like to train or would like to build their careers in a certain path, they can call on you to give some guidance and to help them and give them a helping hand. So career stagnation is very much there, but I'd like to urge all of us, make sure that you do something about it. It may mean taking a bold move, like quitting your current job and taking a role elsewhere, maybe at a lower pay, but do it. Years down the line, you'll thank yourself because you'll have realized you have made the appropriate sacrifice at the appropriate point to catapult you to the next level and very much in line with the career that you want to achieve. I don't know, Mary, if you want to.
I want to add something and challenge people, because I really wish I had been more intelligent when I was younger. I was so obsessed with working hard for the sake of working hard. And now that I'm much older and I see what I could have done and should have done, and I love it that the younger people are doing it differently. When I was in ESO, many years ago, when it was Mamangina Street and ESO used to be the head office, I had a colleague, actually we had gone to university together in the same class. He came later to work with me. His name was Ohio, and his wife and I were in school together, good friends. He used to go for job applications. Every 2 years, he would apply for jobs and go for a job interview. And I'll tell him, why? Don't you like your job? He says, I love it, but I have to measure myself in industry. Am I good? What is my marketability? And you'd go and negotiate. I'm telling you, I worked for ESO 17 years. Not one day did I go for an interview. Not one day did I go to HR to say, I think I need a bigger pay. I've got more responsibility. I was just so grateful for what I was getting. Okay, I moved up the ranks and whatever, but and ESO was a very good, equitable diversity, kind of employer because it was a multinational. But a lot of things, there's a book by Dr. Susan Jeffrey that says, women don't ask. So true. 2, women don't have the courage. Test yourself in the market occasionally. Go out, go and have an interview and come back. You'll feel stronger, you'll get more courage. And number 3 is that we don't like politics. We don't understand that the way you get jobs, the senior you go, is by reference, is by networks. Because people will recommend somebody they trust, somebody they know. You will be told, can you apply for that job? My board positions, I'm approached. Nobody says the higher you go, because it's a risk. So people want to know each other. How do you have a network that supports you in your personal networks? Do you market yourself organizationally? Do you market yourself on LinkedIn? Do you talk about what you're good at? What are your superpowers? Or do you let LinkedIn, the title there is what defines you at the bottom? How would people find you with your expertise? So that courage to go out, market yourself, network, and understand how are positions given, how are positions recommended. Yes, you go for an interview and get it, but how do people say, we're looking for a very strong HR CFO, or we're looking, a CFO, we're looking for somebody to do this. They'll say, give me a few names. HR people call each other, and then you start being headhunted. How do you do that? Or do you say, me, I don't want politics, I don't want issue, I just do my job, and people will find you at home or sitting there doing your good job? Sorry, the answer is no. So that courage is really important. I can see, Evelyn smiling. To be good to get her counter offer to what I'm saying.
Thanks. I mean, that's quite true. A lot of things that happen, and I keep telling people that a lot of even the jobs that would really advance your career, most of them are not advertised. You will just find that a lot of jobs people are actually referrals. So who do you know that is good in this market? Who has sort of set themselves apart, or and at some point then it becomes about the relationships of trust. that people are then able to refer people to. And that's why almost 70 or 80% of jobs are not actually advertised. They are actually through referrals. And that's why it's important to, first of all, make sure there's a brand that is your personal brand. Two, there's a lot of giving back. So if you're giving back as well, it's another platform for you to be able to get a lot more referrals, but also network with people. You can also make an impact, and you just never know where that conversation then ends up. Now, giving back also starts to say that you're also expanding your own set of skills, and you're starting to be seen as actually someone who will do something different apart from what it is that they do on a daily basis, for example. Then I think the other thing that we sort of, as we get comfortable, is that you kind of forget to look at the adjacent skills that you may need. So, for example, who would have said that we now need to know a little bit about AI or about reverse mentoring or data analytics, and suddenly you get thrown into an organizational situations where now you need to talk about insights. Now you need to talk about the things that are skills that are in the flavor of the day. So what are we doing around sort of expanding your own portfolio of skills, portfolio of knowledge, exposure? It is so critical, because then the risk of being completely obsolete is real. When you start to see you cannot connect to conversations that are going on in an environment, then there is a problem. You need to then challenge yourself. How do I get myself back to make sure that I'm on point about engaging in conversations that actually are talking about either your profession, or the things that actually take forward your career, whichever vocation or profession that you've chosen. I think the other thing is, and I think thank you, Mary, for mentioning it. It's fantastic that you say you have to plan for this as well, set a goal. I mean, if you think about the way we take time to set a corporate plan, why wouldn't we do the same for our lives? It's important to set those priorities, to say, okay, fine, here are the timelines. The same way, if you miss your KPIs, you know what happens. So why not have the same cadence around your own life and just say, you know what, let me invest time. Let me invest in things that sort of help me create platforms for myself as I continue to expand where it is that I actually want to go. I see sometimes, and maybe the last thing maybe to say about this is just do something scary. I mean, I've made some career moves that are quite scary. And people ask me, are you addicted to trouble? And I'm just like, no, it's actually, I need to be able to move, because my compass is sort of, it's taking me that direction, and there's something I need so that I can be able to expand whatever exposure I need. But also, I might not necessarily remain as a HR leader. I want to be a CEO, for example, or business leader. How do I get those skills, expanded skills, if I don't do something scary? That's something that really scares me. But then I still sort of have the grit to stay on course with it. Jerry, I think that's what I would say.
Wow. I really agree. I really agree. I mean, let me tell you, I got a job with UNEP, and I'm talking to I just want to take what Evelyn said about giving, volunteering, helping genuinely. People ask me, how do you get to UNEP? International, staff with a red plate. I just used to support them a lot when I was at the Petroleum Institute and when I was at National Oil as a CEO and general manager at the other one. And they would say, oh, Mary, we need a speaker. We need somebody to facilitate. And I said, I charge. They said, no, please. And I'll drive all the way from where the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and I'll go 6-8 roundabouts to UNEP. And I would just support them. I enjoyed them. I'd help introduce them to government. If they're having a problem, I would connect them. I would accompany them. And when a job came vacant in the it was called Partnership for Clean Fuels and Vehicles, they called me and they said, Mary, you've always been here. You've been saying how you'd love to work in this beautiful compound. And I said, yes. And when the ad was put out, they called me, the ad has been put, please apply. And I'd forget because I was busy with other silly things. And I would be taken. So it's so important that, when you just volunteer and work at places, people see you, they observe you, they know your quality of work, and that really helps. So I really like that. But many of us, even at our organizations, like now this is a women insurance, how many people are involved in this and volunteering and doing webinars and supporting others? That's how your name grows. That's why you're invited on board, because they say, I like the way that person talks. They seem to have a very good idea. But if you don't, you know, it doesn't happen. So I really like that. Stella, I see you smiling. You are somebody who's moved jobs just like Evelyn. I don't know how she had the courage to go to Kenya Airways, and after all those debacles, then again, she's called somewhere. But it's because of the way she handles herself, the way she is. People say, we want that one who could go through fire and come. So it's really interesting. Stella, what are your thoughts? Because even, for example, I tell people, why do you go for PhD? Maybe masters, I don't have one, so I always say I'm the only one left in Kenya, me and Jackie Mugo. But why do people do PhDs? Nani, Evelyn was talking about skills. I tell people, go and do a diploma in HR. Go and be an emotional intelligence practitioner or be a coach, because or do technology. Because when the things that are going to drive the future is people, how to manage people, how to lead people, how to motivate people, and technology. Right now I'm thinking, should I do something in coding? Those things, technology, digital space, and people, those are the 2 skills you should have. Better do those than go do a PhD, which I don't understand why people are doing PhDs. But then that could be just my ignorance, because I don't even have a master's. Yes, Stella.
Mary, actually, I do want to do a PhD further on down the line, because ultimately I feel that I would like to teach.
Yes, to teach.
After I'm through with corporate, and when you go into academia, I think it's one of those things that they insist that you have. But I agree with you. It's something that I cannot remember the exact list that was there at the World Economic Forum in 2020, where they listed the top 10 skills that will be required for people managers going into the future. And I do remember at least one, EQ, was rated so highly. Because it's become more important to understand the why of yourself and the why of people as you lead, instead of being a technical manager. For acquiring skills, I'm all for it, and I fully agree with you. As I keep on telling all those I've worked with, every single paper you acquire, every single exam you sit, you acquire a skill, additional information, additional knowledge that will assist you make a better professional decision. There's so much knowledge out there. I think we need to be sponges and making sure that we are always willing to absorb the information, because it helps us make better decisions. It makes us better people and increases our level of understanding. In terms of career stagnation, there's something that you gave us a footnote right at the beginning, Mary. And I remember you talked about courage, and I've seen something on the chat about people talking about difficult working environments. It's never easy. And there's no perfect environment, a perfect business where you'll work with perfect bosses or perfect people. You just have to be very deliberate and very, very determined to do your job and to do it well, and be authentic and true to yourself. Those are the things that will make you enjoy what you do. Otherwise, you will lose heart very easily. You have to have grit, and you develop it by being tenacious and making sure that you have a good support system around you, and that you have someone that you can talk to and reflect with often. I think as women, we shouldn't underscore the importance of coaching. Coaching is very important. So I really salute all the great coaches out there, Mary, Evelyn, and the other women leaders, and even me in my own small way. Try and make sure that you coach 1 or 2 ladies, or even young people who are aspiring to grow in their careers, because that is how it is that we're going to build the workforce of the future. So I think those are just my footnotes. I'll move over to Jerry.
Thank you, ladies. I mean, you can see the conversation there, and there's a lot, and I hope you are noting down. I noted a couple. Do I have anything to do with my career stagnation? The answer is absolutely yes. You need a personal plan. You know, I keep saying nobody else is planning for you. And no, we're not going to blame anyone for not planning for us. You're the one person who has to be the biggest advocate of yourself, knowing what you want for yourself. Draw out that plan. What is it that I want? Where do I want to go? Because everything is going to fit into that. I also had the aspect of saying, who's holding my job now? From what Mary was saying, and I'm wondering whether it's women. And at times, women, we say, I don't want to look like I'm too ambitious. I don't want to look like, and that is at times I keep saying, when you go to work, please be at work, do a great job. And even if we borrow from the good book, at times we say, when you're told, yes, you're a wife, be a good wife. I keep saying, when you go to work, your peers in that environment, we're not trying to play gender roles at the workplace. We adjust. doing a great job. So let's be cognizant of those aspects that take away opportunity from us when we're saying, I won't raise my hand, I won't look like I'm going for it. And perhaps it's also feminine when people have a little criticism, we curl up in a corner. But I'm hearing the hard environments will be there. That people are going to still try to push at you. And I keep saying also, the gentlemen are also quite, they go for what they want unapologetically. So how are you going to do it? Are you going to, at the point, say, I'm waiting for permission, I'm waiting to be given an opportunity, I'm waiting to be given that job? Or if I want it and I really do want it, I say, look, I'm here. This is what I'm already good at, and do it unapologetically, authentically, going for what you deserve. But that is going to come from saying, I'm responsible for where this goes, and I'm willing to sit down and do something about it. I'm willing to draw out that plan. I'm willing to be very ambitious. I'm hearing Mary saying she wanted a job, and you'd be thinking, I want a certain role because it's in my career plan. It's in my personal career plan. The other thing I'm hearing, coaching. Work with people who are ahead of you. Have people reach out to you. Women we have a challenge. At times when you're having a bad day at work, we talk to everyone and no one and complain until the cows come home. That won't get us anywhere. Who's your sounding board? And I dare say a sounding board who can be someone who's objective, and a lot about learning. Be a lifelong learner. You're going to start learning, whether it's an MBA, where I hear Stella saying, I'm going to do a doctorate because, and it's not, I'm going to do a master's because it is a tick box. That doesn't do anything for you. What is the knowledge and what is it helping you achieve? What is that skill you're trying to acquire that is going to help you go at your next level? As we come to close, I'm going to do a quick 2-minute, and I want to know, Mary, how do I get out of it? Feeling my career has stagnated. How do I get out of it? And I'll give you about a minute or two to tell us that, and perhaps throw it out to Evelyn. How do I get out of it? And then we'll go to a few questions from the chat, and then we'll come to winding up. We are 6 minutes to the top of the hour, and as we said, we are keen on doing this on time. Mary, how do I get out of career stagnation?
There are many things, but I think one I would emphasize is sell your skills, not your title. So really get to know, what am I really good at? What are my competencies? And don't do too many, 3 or 4, really top competency of 5 max. This is what I'm especially good at. These are my magic powers. And then this is what I have done. Demonstrate that. And then the other I would say really is sell your skills. Promote yourself authentically and ethically. And I try to tell people, because sometimes people are not comfortable with raising their visibility. Today, your social media is your modern CV. I want to know about you, I Google. Somebody calls me, I Google. A company calls me, I Google. What is your footprint? Stop taking pictures of food or what. Focus on your professional and take it as a brand. So I tell people, if you're shy, remember Matthew 5:16 says, let your light shine before men so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. Most of us are taught, no, you're Nikimbelembele. I don't want to promote myself, what I've done. I don't want to write articles on LinkedIn, thought leadership. Let me tell you, nobody hides a lamp under a bushel or a basket. A lamp is supposed to be put on the stand. So if you're good at what you say, let me tell you, Facebook has 2.6 billion people. Do you know how many people write content? 1%. That's why we read all those silly things, Kardashians, Nini, people doing funny things, going on trips. LinkedIn has got 780 million people, leaders. 4 out of 5 are leaders. Do you know how many people write content? 0.14%. So when you write something, people read you, they notice you, contribute, share your knowledge, give people tips, and believe me, that visibility will pay off. Because where do you tell people I exist and I'm good at X? You'll find your community. So start thinking, how do I promote myself ethically and authentically? That's one tip I would give. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, Mary. Evelyn, adding on that, how do I get out of it? We've had from Mary is, step out, a bit of courage there, and a lot of boldness.
Yeah, so for me, I think I will stay with, first of all, be deliberate and intentional, like Mary said, but have make sure you have a plan and be deliberate about what actually builds into your life journey around what your career needs to look like. I think it's important. There will be events that will sort of come your way, but also it's how then we respond to those events. Some of them planned, some of them are not planned, but how then you continue to have a very deliberate path around what is it that you want out of your life. The other thing I think, and Mary touched on it as well, is this issue of doing this ethically and making sure that your moral compass or the things that guide you as your why, you still remain true to that. I think it's very important, because at the end of the day, you don't want to end up and say, you possibly had a life of no meaning, or you worked your whole life and at the end of it, you actually don't see how that has sort of built more than just your life. So that when you leave, you're wondering, why am I so unhappy? Rather than I'm leaving, but it's an extension, whatever I'm going to, it's an extension of what it is I've already been living, rather than a retiring. So you'll actually see there's no real true retiring out of a career. You continue to sort of walk through that journey of life, continuing to do what you love, continuing to do the things that actually bring you closer and closer to the why you exist and why you are here on earth. I think the last thing I'd say is do something scary, something that scares you. And I think it was a famous lady who once said, I think I can't remember her name, but she did say that you need to do something scary every day, and that is quite it's quite the tall order for some of us. The courage to be able to say, you know what, I may not have a safety net here, but I'm being deliberate about what the thing is I need to achieve around my career's journey. So for me, I think that's where I'd want to sort of leave it. Last thing is maybe not to ignore the things that you see as gigs. And there's a gig economy, you know, that I think Mary alluded to it, the hassles, what we call the side hustles. Some of them are not side hustles. They are actually part and parcel of your career journey. Not to ignore the giving back and not to ignore the hobbies. I think those are things that build a lot more than just what a job would be, and it builds on part of who you are, what career you want to continue to have throughout your life. Thanks, Jerry. I think that's where I've stopped in terms of last tip.
Thank you for that. And perhaps, Evelyn, before I leave you, we could pick two questions on does the work environment affect one's career growth, and you could touch on that, on how to deal with negative work environments. In our negative work environment, I'm trying to leave, I'm not getting a job, how to deal with that. I could give you a minute or so just to deal with that.
Okay, I think it's important for us to be also clear about what environments help you thrive. Now, it will not always be positive, but there are some environments that become quite toxic. And when it's toxic and starts to affect who you are as a person, for example, you start to have issues around mental health, I think there's a call to make around that. At the same time, some challenges come so that we can either develop a lot more resilience and grit, and actually it helps you span amazing challenges. You look back and you're thinking, how did I do that? But it is not at the expense of your health. It is not at the expense of your wholeness. And it's not at the expense of making sure that, or making you feel less than you are as a person. I think it's very important to really have that conversation, or the board meeting with yourself and the advisors that you have. It's critical. And this is where the coaches come in, your mentors come in, some of the people who give you a bit of very blunt feedback around what is going on, because sometimes you will need to hear some hard truths and then make a decision around how long do you want to do what it is that is happening. Now, a negative environment, obviously, is something that you want to, so I said earlier, you can make lemonade out of the lemons you get, but at the same time, and I want to stress this because it has been a big conversation, that toxicity sometimes will really drive people to the ground. It's important to be aware about that. And then if you're not able to change that toxic environment, sometimes you'll see people leaving jobs and you're thinking, why did they leave? And At some point, it stops being about the compensation. It stops being about the benefits. It starts being about what is important to me as a person, and can I build this in a different organization, different environment? It obviously calls for very deliberate conversations. As I said, have a meeting, a board meeting with yourself and your advisors. It will be very good. And of course, if you're centered on faith, I think that also helps, because that gives you the strength to bear some of the craziness that can happen in our work environments as well. Jerry?
Thank you. I'm hearing have a meeting with yourself. We didn't hear have a meeting with the negative committee in the company. So I think that's interesting. A lot of these decisions will be personal. I want to come to you, Stella, on a question here on how do I make career transitions. You've made a couple. How would I making a career transition from one industry to the next? And you could also speak to one where one is coming back from work study and personal losses, and they struggle to navigate. They want to be able to come back and then build a career. How do they go about that? Stella?
On making career changes, it has a lot to do with whether or not the job that is being offered is one that you feel that you can do. Quite often, where I've moved is because an opportunity has come up, and when I look at what that particular role or job entails, I feel that it's within my skill set. I also, however, have also moved, I think, twice for a job that was completely out of my my comfort zone, and it was a welcome reward and a welcome experience when I went through it to realize actually we are bigger than we are. We can do bigger things that we actually think that we can do. So that aspect of taking a challenge role, taking one that is outside your safe space is very, very important. So welcome the change. As you move to that organization, do your research, find out about the value systems, look at the job, find out if you have their colleagues who are there, do have a chat with them, what's the work ethic there, so that in your own mind, you're comfortable before you make the move. I think we've all seen people who've changed jobs and then after a month or so, they quit and go back to their old roles, or they just quit. It's good to do your research beforehand, just so that you make a move, and you go and you stay where you are. Coming back from work study, just a bit of advice. It would be good to just reflect, just do some self-reflection and make an assessment of yourselves to determine where it is that you feel are your strength areas. What's your skill set, and what do you feel you'd be good at, or which role do you think you'd perform well at? And then just start looking for jobs within that particular area. When I look at the normal Kenyan phenomenon, we do know that we have quite a high rate of unemployment. So when jobs are put up, you find that there are so many applicants, but less than 10% actually have the qualifications and experience to do the job. So I know it's usually, I think it's a rule when you're starting out that you apply for everything and anything. Let's be more deliberate. It makes your chances a lot better in terms of getting that job. So to the ladies out there, I think it's build yourself, believe in yourself, be authentic, make sure that you have your brand, and make sure that your grounding is on your values. Those are the ones that will help you navigate your path into your career.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Stella. And I now want to stop the questions there in the interest of time. We are a few minutes past the hour, but we will make sure we respond to all the questions. We'll write to you. I just want to come to parting shots, and I want to start with you, Evelyn. Parting shot on navigating career stagnation, 1 minute or so.
Thanks, Jerry. I think for me is just find your path by being deliberate, intentional, and start with the why. Start with the why. Everything else starts to fall in place. Don't be discouraged that it starts sometimes, and I see there are 0 to 3 years. It may start with a job, but invest now to be able to find a lifelong journey of things that you enjoy. And remember, it's not just about the job, there are a lot of other things that make up who you are as a person. Stay true to your values, and the moral compass or your North Star will continue to just start to give you, every time you step out of what it is that you will always have a hint of, this is not necessarily building into the journey that I need. So I want to wish everybody just give yourself an opportunity to do something quite significant around your career. Invest the time, invest in some good advice. Career coaches are there, mentors, being able to have like a board of advisors that help you navigate some of the transitions that you need to make. I think that's about it, Jerry. Thank you so much for the privilege of having this conversation.
And thank you so much, Evelyn, for taking time to give us those gems of wisdom. We truly appreciate you. I'm coming to you, Stella. Parting shots on how to navigate career stagnation.
Know thyself. I think that's the first part. And let it be a very honest knowledge about who you are, what you like, what you're good at, what are your strengths, where your improvement areas. We won't call them weaknesses, we'll call them improvement areas, and work on those improvement areas. Those are self-challenges usually are the ones that inform our unconscious bias. You know, that innate reaction we have to certain situations, and the more we learn to control them, the better we will be at handling ourselves and being a people manager, because ultimately that is what we are. We manage teams, we manage people, and we want to achieve good results. So self-knowledge is what I would say. Be authentic, be true to yourself. It's very, very important. I really want to concur with what Evelyn is saying. That internal compass will always guide you. And when you feel you're steering off your central path, do everything you can to come back and stick to that path that you have set for yourself. And I wish you all who are in this seminar all the best as you navigate your careers into the future. Over to you, Jerry.
Thank you very much, Stella, for making time for us this morning. I want to come to you, Mary, last but not least, your parting shot on how to navigate career stagnation.
Thank you, Jerry. And it's funny that you should do me last, because it's actually building on what Evelyn and Stella have said. When you've done all that, what do you do with it? Market yourself. You're a brand, you're a product, you have a role. We wear so many hats. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a church member, I'm a chama member, but there's that professional brand, the professional self that earns income. Like I would say Jerry PLC, Jerry Limited. Market that authentically and ethically, and make sure you're promoting, because people need to know you exist. Look at this, even just look at this, and be careful with that brand. How do you present yourself? How you talk, how you communicate, what you do, you're selling those skills. Specifically, this is what I'm about. And I'm just looking even at the people on this webinar, because people are very shy about putting themselves out. You see how many people have put their pictures and their names on their screen. Some have put half name, some no picture at all. Brand yourself deliberately. Just this webinar, you look at all these people, they're very beautiful names there. Me, I've even put my MBS. I'm promoting. This is my Moran of the Burning Spear. So put your picture, a very beautiful professional picture. You're part of that image. Then put your name, full name. And you can even put HR expert or, digital specialist, always, so that brand name gets to be known. So that's my contribution. Thank you. And thank you for having me here. I enjoyed it.
And thank you so very much, Mary. Indeed, it has been an enlightening session. Thank you so much, ladies, for taking the time to be here. I mean, we have learned so much. I hope you have written half as much as I have. I've written quite a bit. We will share this link, and it will be on YouTube. We will share it with you also on email, so that you can go through it and share it with others, so that it's continuous learning. Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you very much, Stella, for making the time to do this with us. And there's a lady we cannot end the session without appreciating. We've had Mama Africa with us throughout the session. That is Hajat Sebiala. who's also the president of Kenya Women in Insurance, Women in Insurance Uganda. Thank you so much, Mama, for making it to be here. To be here. Women, the one thing about us, people say women are each other's worst enemy. I disagree. I think it's important to remember that actually women are extremely supportive of each other when they make up their minds to do just that.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you so much, Erin, for recognizing me, and greetings from Uganda to all the ladies on this call. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mama, for making it to be here with us. We really appreciate the support from Uganda. Please pass our appreciation and let them feel free to join us in future. Ladies, what a morning. I don't know whether you've learned half as much as I have, but I hope we feel better equipped to navigate this great area of navigating career stagnation. Nothing should stop us, ladies. Nothing should stop us. The sky is not even the limit. This has been brought to you by Kenya Women in Insurance Association. We are passionate about mentoring, growing, and making sure that women in insurance are visible and grouped at the highest level possible. We are not going to stop at underwriters. We are not going to stop at just departments. We have to be bolder. We have to be more courageous. We have to be more deliberate to invest in ourselves and go as far as we should be. So I want to take this opportunity to appreciate each and every one of you for making the time to be here. We want to hear from you. There will be a survey immediately after this webinar. Feel free to respond to us. Tell us whether you enjoyed yourself. Is there anything else you'd want us to cover? This is part of our Learn and Grow series. We are deliberate about learning and growing. We need the substance and our leadership to make sure we stand tall. So with that, I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a great day ahead, and ask that we say that we look forward to seeing you at the top. Thank you and God bless.
God bless.